Okay, guys, here's the rules. I am currently streaming with a delay. Yeah, I know, right? 30 minutes to submit the draft as soon as the admin starts, which is going to be in any second now. So, there it is. We're drafting. One of the things about drafting is you want to draft as fast as possible in these tournaments. Timbersaw is pretty good. Honestly, I haven't played enough with the new mode to know how good like the new Timbersaw is. I think I double pick black here. Not enough good red to go for a red hero. Black green is looking very good. Satyr Duelist I think is probably the best green option. Home field advantage is pretty good. I might underrate this. Honestly, I don't play draft as much as a lot of other people right now. I don't really like the idea of going payday. Keen Volk is vaguely playable. Set a splash. Sorla makes this an aggro deck. Red splash hero is possible. I'm not gonna run 2 relentless pursuits, I think. Although actually I might in an aggro deck 2 disciple, 2 relentless hipfire. This is looking very aggro. Legion Standard Bearer I think is more likely than second relentless pursuit to find a way into this deck. I honestly don't really like drafting aggro in drafts. I think it's often kind of cheesy. Intimidation is actually looking pretty good. But we do have Selfish and DI. There's a chance we're gonna get another Intimidation. I think I like Selfish and DI more. I think there's a good chance we're just going to find another Intimidation since it's a common. So Selfish Satyr is good. Assassin's Apprentice is unironically a decent card in this situation. But I think I really just like Selfish Satyr. This is a do-nothing pack. Hellbear is runnable. Wow. 2 runnable cards. That's crazy. Vandal, easy. Got like Arm the Rebellion over Red Mist. Could be a little tricky though. I mean, Red Mist is actually a lot scarier to answer in this format. Don't really have swarm options. It's risky. It's a little cheesable, but we'll do it. Treant Protector is an easy grab. So Ironfog Goldmine is pretty good normally. In the aggro playstyle, Rebel Decoy fits it better. Hourglass is good in general, but we're not going to go for it in draft. It's a lot more of a constructed card. So it's Goldmine Slay. Artillery is actually a consideration if we're like going proper aggro. I don't really like the idea of running 2 Slays in this deck, but I mean, honestly, I think this deck is curving. It is trying to be a little too aggressive. I think Artillery is a little too counterable. I think this deck should try to be a little bit more balanced. I think I do actually like Rebel Decoy most though. I probably like it over Goldmine. This is kind of a bunch of do-nothings. I'm not going to put in a second Keen Folk. Rebel and non-supervised Artillery both have chances of making it into my deck. They're honestly not terrible. These cards are not making it in. Zeus is obviously a good hero, but we can't run it here. We're committed into the splash. So here's where we can just start using the bench. Not running fight, I don't think. No way we're running fight. Clear the deck is actually runnable. We're not going to run enough red heroes for Sucker Punch. No way. This is going to look kind of like this so far, roughly. We're already pretty saturated on red cards. Ogre Conscript is great. It fulfills the need of a slightly higher curve for something like a finisher. I think it's just an easy Selfish Ogre Conscript. We're not going to go for a Blade or Smash here. Smash is just a little bit too situational. You're going to need to find something like a second green hero. So here, red cards suck. Rebel Decoy and Pickoff are both pretty considerable. I really don't like the idea of going for Payday. Now, we have been offered a few good Payday options here. And then the last thing is the Demagicking Maul. Demagicking Maul is actually pretty great, but it's a little inconsistent. People can play around it. And it's not necessarily that much better than something like a short sword. Apprentice Burning Oil, it looks like, or Apprentice Maul. 2 red mist mauls. That's a little heavy, honestly. We're not actually killing that many heroes. Bloodseeker is an interesting choice. Honestly, I haven't really played draft since the changes. Literally at all. So, I'm still not sure how I feel about the new Bloodseeker. Is this better than Debbie? This is probably the single decision I actually have to make here. The healing is nice. It has 7 attack instead of 9. Debbie basically has 9 because she has 9 when she's not hitting a creep, and creeps usually don't matter for 9. So, Bloodseeker heals every turn at 7 instead of having 2 extra attack. And he has Blood Rage, which is honestly often worse than no accident. I'm going to go with Bloodseeker, I think. I mean, even if he's a little bit better than Debbie, though. We could random the hero instead. Randoming my hero has high payout for low cost if we assume he's only a little bit better than Debbie. I'm actually pretty happy with this draft. We need a second black hero. I think I'm safe just locking this in. I kind of suspect this is a misplay, but I'm a bitch, so I'm going to do it anyway. Not a lot of people picking blue right now, it looks like. Second Bloodseeker. We're not going for 2 black. Looks like it's probably going to be 2 green. So it looks like it's Satyr, Duelist, Selfish Cleric. Pretty easy picks here, I think. Very heavy on the green 4s, but what else is new? I mean, that's just kind of how you do things in Artifact. Musk is easy. Stonehall Cloak is probably the easy second. In fact, it is the easy second. It's a good pack. Sven is nice. Sven kind of forces us into potentially 1 green, though, and we don't really have as much red. He's not really that nice either. He's okay. None of these other cards are really do anything cards. So Sven comes out at a super low opportunity cost. Poison Strike is out, and it's even possible that the Burning Oil is out as well. I've got so many green 4s proactively. I really, really want the second green hero to just start abusing these. I think it's fine to just pick something like a Intimidation up here. Good green hero turns this draft around. We'll run Farvan if we have to. I'm pretty fine doing that. Nothing we're actually just running here at all. Keenfolk is playable. Ghoul is probably not playable. Okay. So we got Lion. Means we're going to have to go for a Farvan here. So we can go ahead and kick Lion, I think, right off the bat. Let's see how we're doing this. So we want our 2 green heroes to come out on 3. We cannot river a green hero because we have too many 4 drops, basically, right? Too many green 4s that we need to be able to be playing both on 4. Trian obviously comes out before Farvan. So Farvan coming out on the turn is the most reasonable thing, which means Sorla has to either river or flop. River Sorla is a little awkward, but it actually looks like we might have to do that here. I don't really see a better option. Vool is probably just out. Yeah, Vool sucks. 2 Rebel Decoys actually feels pretty good in terms of early plays. We'll be able to really start putting the pressure on. Intimidation is a acceptable finisher. Got some good red plays. Rebel Instigator can of course go. Not necessary here, especially with the 4 mana and Rage. How good is Ursa compared to Keef? It's pretty good, right? And then the last thing is we could cut red out entirely. So right now we have 10 red cards, which means we're going to have to do some harder reaching. The question is, do we play something? We don't play Lion, right? Lion could actually be the choice. That's interesting. I think we'd be more likely to go for, yeah, we could go for a second Farvan. I mean, we have the opportunity to go for a duo color deck. Now, Ursa's not bad here, but we don't have anything really amazing in red. And Rage as a card starts to kind of suck. Our red card quality is actually nice, though. It's not amazing, but it's okay. Hyped likes Hellbear Crippler. I don't believe in this card personally, but in draft, I have no choice but to kind of defer to other players right now because I haven't played draft in a long time. So, is Burning Oil good? Burning Oil has to be better than a Hellbear Crippler, right? Biggest fan of Keen Folk Musket. So you can flush the item deck here. What's the delay? The delay is 10 minutes. Yeah, I really normally hate streaming with the delay, but if I'm like, that's mostly because in Gwent I didn't really like try hard that much, and you know, if I actually like want to play in like open tournaments or like 128 size tournaments, I'm gonna need to stream with the delay. If I'm streaming in like smaller tournaments where it's like top 8 and I know like the other players are like invites and they're not gonna stream snipe, then I won't bother putting up a delay. I think unsupervised artillery is probably not worth the cut. We haven't really cut our black cards here yet. Yeah, those two are out. Relentless Pursuit, I think, has to be out in this deck, I want to say. Assassin's Apprentice feels a lot more like a 1-of at most, so we can just start cutting this down now. It's a pretty light curving deck, but I feel pretty happy with it, all things considered. So, the one issue is that my mana 4 is very tight. The green, I mean, we picked a lot of Satyr and Selfish, which is fine, but the green hero we got locked into was Treant and Farbrand, which also has 4. We were likely getting a Farbrand, but that's okay, though. I mean, green is just always going to be super heavy on 4s. That's just nothing you can really plan around unless we, like, rolled into an Enchantress or something. So at this point, we need to think about losing a bit of green here. I think Intimidation is just a little bit gimmicky. It's really not bad to have as a 1-of, especially in situations where you kind of want a finisher. Maybe I could consider keeping it out, honestly. Again, building draft decks is not... I'm not going to be the best player for building draft decks. If any of you guys wants to learn like the process of drafting or building, you know, eventually I'll get back into draft. I don't know. I never really know. I've said before that like I wanted to play draft more, but as you can see, I ended up not really doing that. Either way, for the time being, like if you want to learn drafting, I would highly recommend someone other than me. I'm pretty good to watch for Constructed right now, if you like mono blue, but in draft, there's definitely going to be better streamers. I think we can clear the deck out since we're splashing 4 on red, and Enrage and Standard Bearer are just fulfilling that slot too well. Feels like our red cards are in a good place though right now. So the question is, how do we cut down on these greens? Rebel Decoy is likely not a 2-of. Playing it, especially after the Treant Aura, feels so good though. Just playing it early. DI is nice, but maybe not like, maybe not insane. I think it's important to have like this initiative finisher of Intimidation. Maybe one Intimidation is better than the second DI, honestly. So we're going to be playing the Farbrand out. A lot of these black 4s are going to be a little less useful. Black turn 1 plays. Just kind of swarm heavy, unit heavy. Disciple is going to be a lot better with Bloodseeker. Disciple's more of a turn 1 play when you have Bloodseeker. Maybe Bloodseeker makes it so I can kind of cut down on my Assassin's Apprentice, which I feel like I don't really need at this point. Ratios really skew me towards green cuts though, right now. Question is DI or Intimidation? I want to cut one of these cards. DI 2-of or Intimidation 1-of. That's a harder choice for me. This deck's going to be playing super proactively. Just keep stuff alive. I mean, DI is kind of always going to find value if I draw it early. Smack it down. Your stuff just won't die. Intimidation is like the finisher. It costs... The The most important way to think about this basically is that, like, we're looking at curve, right? But from a curve perspective, Intimidation is not really a 5-mana card for the same reason that, like, for example, Foresight is not really a 4-mana card, right? Like, these are cards that cost that mana amount, but they're not as simple. Intimidation is a late game play. This might as well be like a 7 or 8 mana card in terms of how I want it to affect my curve, because it's very late game finisher when I need that there, right? Curve is supposed to just be a representation of when your tools come online, and stuff like Foresight and Intimidation, the exact mana cost isn't really where it should be on the curve, if you're kind of thinking about it the right way. I've still got plenty of time to finish this up, so I'm just thinking. It's definitely wrong to go Bloodseeker. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, an old Bloodseeker, I'd never pick it over Debbie. This new one, I haven't really had time to, you know, reevaluate. Since I haven't played draft since the changes happened, I could easily be wrong about going Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker is worse than Debbie. We should flop Sorla every time, right? I mean, we have Slay even, so we can deal a lot of early damage. Because most heroes aren't really at 9 health. The thing that we're going to see super commonly is at 9 health exactly. It's what, like Lich? Darkseer? Darkseer is kind of common. So Bloodseeker versus Debbie. Bloodseeker has 2 less attack, 2 more health, and a passive that heals him. Attack is worth more than health. Debbie's Sig is probably better. I don't know. I could see Bloodseeker Sig being better. Which one's the better flop hero? It kind of should be Bloodseeker, right? Since he has sustain. But I'm not even necessarily sure if that's true. I could river Bloodseeker and flop Sorla, honestly. And just really punch that tower. I will say my black hero dying on turn 1 will suck, because I have a lot of black 4-mana cards that I just won't be able to play if my black hero dies turn 1. So you have to evaluate how likely this 1 attack is to matter, or this 1 health. And Keef is a large way that can matter if it spawns into a 6 attack unit exactly, which is basically most commonly going to be Keef. Spawning into a Keef with Sorla will make Bloodseeker a lot better for sure. It's kind of the only common thing that can actually kill Sorla in 1 hit, right? River Bloodseeker sounds like the worst thing ever, doesn't it? Sig is more for late game. It's like finishers. If we're running Bloodseeker, we don't need Intimidation as much. And I think that could be one potential argument for this. I'm inclined to try Bloodseeker. Am I? Is this card actually just still worse than Debbie in every situation? Man, this hero blows. Like, his passive is pretty garbage. Debbie coming in later after I have a cloak down feels a lot better. It does allow me to cut Intimidation, which is nice. And I already do have black plays that deal damage in the forms of Hipfire and Pickoff. Okay, so I've got 6 minutes left to submit this deck. Offline mode. Steam mess up. That's kind of the only hard decision for me with this deck. I mean, if we're rivering it, I think it probably should be Debbie. If we're rivering it, it could even be Lion. I mean, Lion's new Quicken effect isn't actually useless if we're rivering Lion. His Sig is so bad, though. But, like, Finger is kind of nice. Kind of. He just has, like, 3 less attack than Debbie for a Finger. And then a Sig that's kind of a do-nothing. But it's got Quicken. So Intimidation could actually be useful for closing out games. I really like DI's proactivity, though. Intimidation is punch that I'm not sure I'm going to need. Black heroes will be dying. I think I can cut a black card now. My ratios are pretty fine here with me cutting like 1 black card. I do actually like the Assassin's Apprentice here, though. Especially since we're flopping Sorla instead of Bloodseeker. Relentless Pursuit gets a bit better as well. I mean, mobility is kind of always useful in this mode, I think. Especially the way I play it. I usually play drafts more aggressively than most other players. Could cut one Rebel Decoy, honestly. It's not something I need to have. Drawing it early feels really good. If you draw one early. I mean, it is just a better card than Hellbear Crippler, right? It's a much better card than Hellbear Crippler. Question is, how much does the color matter? Because right now our green is over ratio compared to red. Is there such a thing as too many selfish clerics? We could just cut a selfish cleric. This card is so nice, but I mean, 7 4-drops on top of these starts to get a little much. This is my deck then. This feels a little bit better. I kind of like the Rebel Decoy, honestly, over the selfish. I think I'm fairly happy with this. So, this is okay. We'll have to see how this goes. I'm gonna fill up my water real quick before we start.